How's it going, André?
Not bad, Sam. How is it going?
Yeah, not too bad. It's it's a nice day in Horsham. Yeah, pretty balmy November
It
weather
is.
we're having, right? So it's 15 degrees Celsius outside.
It's great.
Otherwise known as 288 Kelvin.
Clever move.
Oh yes, well I can tell.
Wow.
He's laughing, but I can tell from the eyes. That's a face that could stink 1,000 jokes. You know,
Yeah,
that's
there we go.
he's like, I've heard this before. Can't believe you went there.
Yep, heard it before.
But Kelvin Glen from Horsham Matters, CEO, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, well, look, it's great to have you because one of the things we'll be doing on our podcast is having local businesses, local artists come on. But one of the great things is about our community is how well we all work together, how closely linked we are together, and Horsham Matters is a huge part of that. So it'd be great to get some really important messages out from what you're trying to do. A lot about you, of course, Kelvin, but really, let's start slightly differently.
Yep.
And instead of just asking you about the history of Horsham Matters, let's just start with the real meat and potatoes. What is the key message or key messages that you want to get out to people who might be listening about Horsham Matters, what it does, what you're trying to do with it, where you're trying to go with it?
Thanks. Great question. I think the important thing is that irrespective of who you are, you can make a difference. And that sounds very cliche, but it's all in the word. Horsham Matters. We want our community to matter. We want everyone to care about their neighbours. We want everyone to think that if I was having a hard time, someone would help me.
Yeah.
So when you can support and help your neighbour, that's what we're here to do. Our role is to educate and facilitate. Our role is not to do it for you, but is to unlock the opportunity for Horsham residents in the district, not just the town of Horsham, to help each other so that we can keep this amazing district what it is, and anyone can fall on hard times.
Yeah.
So the important thing is that when people do fall on hard times, and if it does happen to you, hopefully somebody will give you a hand up. So our whole philosophy is about a hand up, not a handout, and also to demystify the whole thing about charities and being charitable and the whole thing about having to ask for help. None of us want to ask for help, but it's important that people do, because the earlier the intervention, the easier it is to help you and hold your hand along that journey.
Yeah, and what a great message that is, because we do have, and I'm guilty of this, but I most certainly have my own preconceptions about what charities do, what they don't do, how they help people, how they don't. But what you're saying is actually quite a radically different way of thinking about it. So then on that, how do you go about this? So what is it that Horsham Matters does for somebody who's really struggling with be it to do with cost of living, be it to do falling on hard times? Where do you come in and how can people approach you and when should they approach you?
Cool. So the first thing is that great opportunity to educate. Horsham Matters has been around for nearly 20 years. So we've been on a journey through those 20 years and we are going on a further journey of changing some of the stuff we're doing. And that's happened through having really constructive, in-depth conversations with our clients. Note, we don't call them beneficiaries, we call them clients, because just like in a doctor's surgery or a supermarket, you're a human being, we treat you with respect, and you deserve that respect. So we've had some really deep and interesting conversations with our clients to understand why, what, how, and it sounds, again, very corporate cliche, but the why of, why did this happen? And I'll give you some practical examples. It's the simple thing of not having enough money to pay the car this month or shortchanging the rent. Once that happens 1, 2, 3 months down the line, you get into trouble, you then smash up the credit cards and they're maxed and then you just can't get out of it. So the irony is, the perception is that the people that we help are the people that are unemployed, don't want to work, on benefits and lazy. That is completely wrong. Completely wrong. I walk down the high street every day and I see clients. I don't make eye contact because I don't want to embarrass them, but they're normal folk like you and me going about their business. Majority of our clients are working class people, working a hard, honest, full day. They just can't make ends meet because of circumstances. Either they've just got divorced. So imagine you've just got divorced, 2 incomes, 1 house, 2 incomes, 2 houses. It sounds crazy, but that whacks you for an extra £300-400 a month. If you don't have £400 a month extra, what do you do? People that have lost their jobs, small businesses that have gone under because we're not supporting small businesses, people that have fallen on hard times because of an addiction problem or a behavior problem or whatever. Always comes down to money. So our role is when people are falling on hard times and they can't afford to fit those bills, our philosophy is don't shortchange the rent, don't shortchange the car payments or any other important payments. Come to us and confidentially we can help you. How do we help you? It's a journey. Everybody knows us for our food banks. We have 16 food banks a week throughout the Horsham district. We help 9,500 families at the moment throughout the district. But the food bank is just the start. So the important thing is, yes, get food on the table so people don't go to bed hungry. That's the last thing we want. But we need to understand why. How did you get into the situation? And then it's unlocking further support. So it's signposting to other charities, it's signposting to social services or unlocking benefits, or just helping them sort out their budget or get them some budget relief for some of their suppliers or credit cards. So it's about understanding the why and then walking that journey with them. And the food bank is there to make sure that we just fill that gap. It's not sustainable for people to come to the food bank year in, year out. We ideally want to work with the client 6 to 9 months. They should then be independent again. And then we're available to help the next client. So look at us as an extension of all the amazing other social services that are available, but it's a hub where we can support you and walk that journey with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a stark way of thinking about it. I mean, you saying towards the beginning there around, the majority of your client base is, people who are working, every hour that God sends. And just to think, I mean, there are so many fragilities that we have in our lives that you just don't know what's around the corner. You just don't know where something's going to take you. A complete left field thing will just come and hit you in the face. And hey, you as prudent as a lot of us can be, you can never prepare for everything.
No.
And you're suddenly in a space that A, you never thought you'd be in, B, you don't know how to be in, and C, you don't know where to reach, or you feel like you shouldn't because, hey, I'm working all the time, so there's people who are struggling far more than I am.
I'm not homeless.
I shouldn't be taking resources from people who need it more, but actually you're just as deserving.
Absolutely.
And this isn't the kind of stuff we'll see sexy dancers on TikTok about,
No.
And that's a narrative that needs to change.
And also the thing is that from a communications perspective, the photograph of the person sleeping on the street, the dog with the sore paw, is very emotive.
Yeah.
Our clients, that's not the average photograph. The average photograph is you and I going to work.
Yeah.
And as you said, it can happen to any of us. Statistics we're reading, the average person is 2 to 3 paychecks away from being homeless. Because if you didn't earn an income, think about it. You had no income for 3 months. Could you survive and pay all your bills? Probably not. Especially people who have kids and families and extended families. So the challenge is cost of living is a problem. We lobby as hard as we can and do our bit to challenge. But the average family is 2 to 3 paychecks away from being in trouble. So it can happen to anybody. So our whole role is let's help people when they're in trouble and let's help them before they get into deep trouble, because the knock-on, which is another whole conversation of the psychological challenge, the emotional challenge, the physical challenge when you can't put food on the table or you're skipping meals, whether that be family, elderly individuals. We can't prove it, but obviously people start then turning to other substances to substitute their stress. So by supporting local charities, and tonight it's not about, yes, Horsham Matters is an important charity. We do great work, and that's my role, is to be its ambassador. But it's also about educating your listeners about getting involved in whichever way they feel is important. They may feel more strongly about certain other causes. If everyone just does their bit to help their local charity that they believe is doing the right thing and that they want to help, the world will be a better place. There's enough money out there. There's enough volunteers out there. Our job tonight is to inspire people and unlock and let people appreciate that it's the Starfist philosophy. if we can save one starfish, then we've done our job.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, and we're so privileged in the sense that, in Horsham, we have a very tight-knit community, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we see it all the time. We bumped into each other last Friday at the, Horsham Council putting another Friday late, and you see people from all corners just coming together, enjoying themselves, but you realise that we're all part of the same fabric.
Absolutely.
And on that, so what ways does Horsham Matters kind of get involved in the community, or what ways could the community be more involved with Horsham Matters? I'm just interested to know where you fit into that puzzle, really.
So we're very involved in the wider community. We work really closely. I've been in post a couple of months, and having worked in the charity sector all my life across different continents, we happen to land in Horsham. We love the town. We love living here. And when I took on this role, a lot of my colleagues at my previous role, which was an international charity, were like, what's wrong with you? You're going from a global charity, jet setting around the world, to this, they called it a little charity in a little town.
What is wrong with you?
That is exactly it, though. There's something about Horsham that, unless you've experienced it, you can't understand it. It's an amazing town. There's an amazing sense of community. I mean, Friday Night Lights, that's a typical example. It's a huge success. And I see our clients there every Friday. At the beginning, I was like, I don't want to make eye contact because I didn't want them to feel embarrassed. But actually, they have every right to be there like everybody else. So it is an amazing community. And we've been very fortunate that there isn't a sense of territory in the sector. And that be council, who I've got to give them credit. They have been hugely supportive of Horsham Matters. They open the door whenever I need it. They have engaging conversations with us. They're working with us on a number of projects. Other charities, it's great to see charities come together and say, right, you're doing that. How do we together help this client so that the client doesn't have to tell the story all over again?
Yeah, of course.
And even the doctor's surgeries. You've had some really good conversations with the social prescribers at various doctor's surgeries, and they've been a great asset in identifying clients when it's early and helping us help that client. So our role, as I said, is to facilitate, is to be the diplomat, it's to be the spokesperson on behalf of our clients. But more importantly is to be that safety net. It's really to be that safety net to let people know that it's okay to fall and we're not going to judge you and we'll get you back up there. Our whole job is to get you back up there. It's not to judge you, pull you down and keep you down there. It's to get you back up there so that you can live your best life. Those are the success stories we want to talk about. So success stories for us is testimony when clients come to us in absolute crisis and then get back on their feet. The important thing is to educate people that we need to get to those that are suffering and having hard times earlier. And that's, how do we get that right? There is no golden recipe because everybody's so different. But I've got to say the community does pull together. When we do appeals, they do support us. They support our fundraising events, which is great. But I've got to give credit to the other charities, local council, the churches, and local businesses. They've been really responsive in saying, let's work together. So that is something that I think Horsham can be exceptionally proud of, is that we have a true sense of community, which when friends of ours visit from other towns, they're so jealous because there's just that sense of community that makes Horsham amazing.
That's it. I mean, I moved to Horsham about 7-8 years ago now, and it's the first thing you noticed is how close together everyone is.
Absolutely.
And how easy it is to just get on, and everyone goes, you should join that group, you should join the Horsham Matters group, you should join that group, because the amount of support and the amount of events coming up and the amount of just information about what is going on, what is out there for everyone is just incredible. I think my question, Sam didn't want to ask that question to start with. I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't want to ask that question to start with, but I will ask that question then. I kind of want to know where all of this came from. And how do you go from, because everyone, I would like to think that most people have that intuition to help another. I think that everyone has that in them. But I think where people sometimes fail is, how do you take that from a thought to an action?
Good question. And I think that's the challenge, is that as human beings, we want to fix everything. And I think we've got to break down that misnomer that you're not going to fix the world. You're not going to solve the problem overnight. And it does seem overwhelming. And people are fearful that, well, if I only do this little bit, I'm not going to make a difference.
What's the drop in the ocean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is that drop in the ocean that is going to make the difference. That's going to make the difference in the bigger scheme of things. And I think it's about making people aware that give what you can, whether that's time, professional services, money, volunteering, whatever. Give what you can, and that collectively, we can tackle this. We can tackle this collectively. Traditionally, volunteering, giving to charity was always almost a taboo of, you quietly wrote out the check and put it in the post. You didn't shout about it. We're seeing a change in the narrative around corporate volunteering. It's been really great to see when corporates that are Horsham based come to us and volunteer, and we talk to those people, and they choose, and I use the word choose, to work for that employer because of its values and its principles, and because it offers volunteering days. And for me, that's a wow, where the employee is saying, I choose to work with you, and I choose you as my employer because I'm aligned to your values. And I think we need to keep that in society, and we need to do... I heard a great speech from an American author around checking in, not checking out, in the sense that we shouldn't be dismissing stuff. We should dig deep and understand why we're dismissing stuff. So the average person that goes, well, I can't make a difference, needs to dig deep and say, well, why do I feel that way? Because that one can of food, or that 50p in the donation tin, or that 1 hour of volunteering makes a significant difference. You may not think so because you're only seeing that, but that is the drop in the ocean that just gets us to the level we need.
Yeah. The drop in the ocean creates the waves and the ripples that go further and far beyond, way beyond your perspective from that, like you say, that half hour, that small donation, wherever it was, of time or professional services or whatever it may be, is, that can be absolutely priceless in terms of the longer lasting effects that can have.
And it unlocks amazing things because we've seen volunteers come in, oh yeah, I'm going to help out. And they walk away an hour later completely inspired, have become absolute advocates and vocalists for giving back, and have inspired their mates and their friends and their family, and gone back and challenged their employer to go, we need to be doing more, So I think people just need to be a little bit brave and not worry about, am I going to be making a difference?
Yeah.
It's the same as exercise. It's that first step on the treadmill. You just got to take that first step.
I've got to do it one day.
Exactly. You just got to get up and not hit the snooze button and get up. It's the same thing. And I think if we can encourage that, because we've got a great community, and we've got that great community and that community spirit. But I think our challenge as Horsham Matters is that we've got a job to do to not create hysteria and fear, but to create awareness around there are people in our community that are suffering. It's not visual. It doesn't mean they're not suffering, And take Saturday morning the high street, Friday night lates. The people that we're working with are there. They're like you and I. But because we don't see it, people perceive. When you talk to people and say, you're raising money for Horsham Matters, they go, but Horsham's a rich town. Why do you need to raise money? There can't be people in the food bank in Horsham. Come on.
but that is the stereotype. 100%.
That's the reality.
Yes.
So, it's about unlocking that potential in everyone. It's about getting people excited. As I said, it's not necessarily about helping us, but helping a charity, a cause, or whether that's just picking up litter outside your front door. Yeah. Do something.
Yeah. And the key thing is what's really... what I love about those messages is that they're universal, right? So we said, as you quite correctly identify, people, I hear it all the time, people say, oh yeah, Horsham, that quaint little market town, there's no way there's any problems there, etc. Now look, someone watching this may be living in a place where things are a bit more visually obvious, right? The point is, even the three of us around this table, we each ourselves are fighting battles that the others can't see.
Yep.
As is everybody else around us, right? So we go about our day, we some people just try to get to the end of that day. And to do that, we have to put our best selves forward.
Yeah.
So we leave the less best of ourselves further back. So, and that, it doesn't matter where you are, Horsham, somewhere else, in the country, wherever it may be, these principles hold dear in every walk of life.
Yeah.
And it's a great message to send out. And I think, I'm particularly interested to know what sort of volunteering opportunities there are around Horsham Matters, and what kind of things, what sort of fundraising events you've talked about, what sort of things are they, and if you've got anything coming up.
Great. So yeah, we have lots happening. We're going to Christmas, which is a very exciting season for us in the sense of everyone's involved and everyone's got a spirit of giving. So yeah, how we work is our volunteering is on various platforms, either corporates, where corporates offer volunteer days for their employees and they send a couple of people down and they get involved. Otherwise, individuals. And we do have a bank of amazing volunteers. And if any of you are watching, thank you. You're angels. We have amazing volunteers already that do phenomenal work, and we could never run this charity without them. I could never raise enough money to cover the costs if I had to pay for that human capital.
And just interrupt slightly. Yeah. And they do what? So what sort of...
Okay, so volunteering, we do various things. So first thing is our charity shop. Yeah. Love it again in 40 West Street. We're very proud of it. It's a very bespoke charity shop. It does amazing things. So we have volunteers that volunteer time there.
Sure. Okay.
And some of them are regulars. And that's their social connection. That's their high for the week, is when they come in for an hour or two and volunteer. Given most of them are retired, but we believe that's an important thing, because if they weren't volunteering, they'd be sitting at home on their own isolated watching telly. So they're getting out, they're giving back, it's keeping them fit and active and all those things. People can also volunteer in our food bank. We move tons and tons of food every single week. That food needs to be sorted, checked, logged, recorded, and then packed and then distributed. So we run 16 food banks a week across 7 sites and a mobile food bank. It's quite a logistical challenge. We don't have the human capital to do it. We couldn't do it without volunteers. So it's nothing you need to be trained on. We can train you in 10 minutes.
Sure.
But people basically come and sort all the amazing food the public donates into different things by date order, and then second group of volunteers will pick the food like the Tesco pickers do in the supermarket for that particular food bank. And then it's sorting our food in our food banks. So our food bank model is slightly different. We do not say to you, oh, well, you need food, there's a food parcel. We've decided what you need. We've packed the parcel for you. We create a little shop environment. So we say to you, based on your means test and how many people living in your household and your situation, you can pick the following food items. And the food's on the shelf. And you go and pick. Because if you're going to pick a can of soup, you may hate ham and pea soup, but love tomato soup. Now, if somebody packs a food parcel for you and they like ham and pea, guess what you're getting? Or you might be vegetarian and you get ham and pea soup. So the food banks need to be sorted out every single day. So you can volunteer in the food bank, you can volunteer in our shop, you can volunteer in your professional role. There's a lot of professional people that have got time on their hands because they've either reduced their hours, they're semi-retired, they've finished studying, they haven't started working, they've got time on a Saturday afternoon. Professional volunteers in areas like admin, finance, marketing, charities as a whole, we really struggle. For example, when we've got to review a document, so the Charity Commission on the 1st of November have instituted 1 million new laws. It's a legal document about that thick. You need a PhD to understand it and a law degree to understand it. I can't afford a lawyer and I can't afford a PhD person. So little me has to try and figure it out. There's an example. If there's somebody out there that's got a law background and gets excited about analysing a 200-page document, help us, because you can put that into a 2-page summary that helps my trustees, who are the legal directors, myself, and the team, to understand how those laws have changed. So many charities struggle with the basics because we can't justify spending donor money on certain things. HR, marketing, the shiny stuff, all the stuff that sometimes we take for granted in corporates. So I think there's a great space in the charity sector for professionals who love and are passionate about their profession and want to give back. And you can do that from your desk as well. We have some corporates that help us that literally work remotely. They have access to the file in SharePoint, and off they go. And they do amazing stuff for us that I could never afford to buy or pay for with the charity's money. So you can volunteer as a professional, you can volunteer as an individual or a family, you can volunteer as a corporate. And then what we haven't done enough of is what I'm calling our community champions. We also need people that want to give back, that live in a community. So if you live in Pulborough and you want to organise a pub quiz night and raise money for charity, organise it, go to your local charity and say, I've spoken to the pub, they're ready to help, give me the marketing material, give me what I need to fundraise, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
We don't have the capacity to do 30 quiz nights a month. I'd love to, we need the money, but I don't have the capacity because a quiz night raises £200-300, which is huge for us. We need community volunteers. So my message to the audience is, get hold of the charity that you like. Get hold of your local charity.
Yeah.
If it's us, come and talk to us. Let's understand who you are. We don't want to put people in boxes because I think that's the challenge. You know, you have to do it this way. You have to wear that. You have to be here at 9 o'clock and you will only pick up litter. Well, that's not what turns me on. I'm not going to be happy. But Excel spreadsheets excite me. Let me help you with that. So we want to change the thinking around volunteering. Statistics are telling us people want to volunteer more because it feeds their social consciousness. And sometimes volunteer time is worth more than the cash. If you can afford to give us £20 a month, great. Your time can probably be worth £100 to us.
Yeah.
In physical labour or professional support.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess one thing that from what you've just been talking about, you know, particularly the professional support side, where you say, look, you know, anything can help, be it from, you know, analysing documents to this and, you know, because it's something like you say, look, we can't justify spending that money, but we just simply don't have it, right?
Yeah.
Now this is like, I'm not intending this to be controversial, but it could be. That's not true of every charity.
No.
And the thing is, like, we don't, when I say we, I mean the person just walking down the street doesn't know if Horsham Matters fits into that category or if another charity fits in that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not something that we would be privy to, right? So then,
Not necessarily, no.
Yeah. So that's where I don't know. How do we? Because some charities they won't benefit from that in the same way that others will,
or they won't accept those volunteers.
Yeah, they won't accept those volunteers. So then how do we kind of help, you know, put people in the right direction? And I'm not saying that the charities that can do it shouldn't get support. Of course they should. You know, any charity that's trying to, you know, improve people's lives or whatever it may be that they're trying to support with deserves that support. But some people who want to volunteer in the way that you're talking about, yeah, how does anyone help them see where the opportunities are?
I think do your research, talk to your charities. I think that's the important thing. So I think the important thing for every individual is what's important to me as an individual. What do I want to do? Obviously, Horsham residents would love you to all help Horsham Matters, but that would be selfish. But it's about the individual saying, what charity do I want to support? Or what 2 or 3 charities do I want to support? Go and talk to them. If you get a cold slab door in your face, move on.
Yeah.
But don't shut down the idea because you've had one bad experience or one particular charity says, oh, no, we've got a head office that does all of our legal and you're not allowed to touch our legal documents. Fair. And some of the big charities have legal experts and they're fortunate. And a lot of the big national charities that have offices in Horsham have that. So I think it's about the audience and the listeners just thinking about what's important to them. Talk to your local charity. Start the conversation. You know, it's no different to looking for a job. You're not going to just randomly apply for a job until you know where, what, how. Volunteering is no different. You know, you've got to align to the values of that charity. You'll be comfortable with that charity. You'll like that charity. You know, and we've had that where volunteers come in and go, that was great, but it's not for me. I'm not coming back. You know, we've had other volunteers that, bless them, we've got to go, enough, you know, enough. We only need you for 5 hours a week, not 7. This is not your home. You need to create space for other people. It happens because the irony is we become a second family.
Of course.
That's their fix.
Yeah.
Especially people that have retired. You know, you guys have been in healthcare, you know the story. It's so hard that cut off at the elbow when someone goes from working all their life to nothing. You know, I wake up this morning, what am I going to do today? And then they get involved in charities because that feeds them, but then they have no other balance. So we need to be responsible as well. But I would say, talk to your charity that you like and that you think you want to be part of. Have a conversation with them. Do your research. Understand. Challenge them.
Yeah.
You know, it's a two-way relationship, this.
I mean, I've got 2 points on what you just said. I think it's incredible. I think there's a lot. It sounds to me that there's a lot that needs to be done education-wise.
Yeah.
Because obviously, it's like what you said earlier. Like Sam, I didn't know. You kind of have this idea, but I didn't know I could volunteer my professional services to help out. And I think because of how busy everyone is on a day-to-day basis, it's really hard for someone to just say, oh, actually, you know, I'll go and volunteer and pick up rubbish. Yeah. But actually, if someone said to me, actually, why don't you help and just do some video editing? We've got some footage. Can you help us out? If I was aware of that, I would be more inclined to help. But obviously, again, resources are scarce. You know, they're very rare. So it's difficult for the charity itself or themselves to then put that information out there. So I think this is why conversations like these are so important, so that the community itself understands that there is a place that they can actually offer their expertise, not just picking up rubbish or not just working behind a counter at a charity shop. You can actually provide what you're skilled at. And I think that's really valuable.
What you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the other thing on your point is that we talked about retired people. That's very drastic. But you've got tons of people working from home.
Oh, absolutely.
9 to 5 that just lack that social interaction. And I think that's such a good opportunity for those people, because you go a full day, a full weeks on end, not interacting with anybody.
Yeah.
And it's André's just outing himself here.
Are you one of those people? In your PJs till 6 o'clock in the evening.
Also, 9 to 5. Come on, bro.
Hey. It's more like 9 to 1 o'clock in the morning.
We've got the opposite. You know, we've got youngsters that often approach us that have finished uni that are, to be frank, directionless. You know, I've studied law. I had this vision of being a lawyer in a fancy building in London because I watched Suits. Great. You got a law degree, now what? They're not sure. They're not ready for the corporate world. They're not sure what they want to do. There's an opportunity. And as I said, we can't always fit every volunteer. Sometimes volunteers come to us and we just go, yeah, great, but we actually can't use you.
Yes.
But hey, let me talk to my mates at this charity and that charity and that charity down the road that I talk to every day because I know they can use you. So I think it's also about the charities bearing their skin a little bit and talking to each other and talking to society and not being afraid to put it out there to say, we're looking for someone to do this, this, and this over the next 3 months. You know, we're looking for someone to do whatever. So a lot of young folk that have finished their qualifications are a little bit lost or can't find jobs yet or haven't found jobs yet, go and do 2 hours a day or 1 day a week, you know. And the great thing about charity work is that charities work 24/7 in the sense of you can be a hermit 9 to 5, but, you know, you can go and work for a local charity from 5 to 6 one night a week, you know, or 1 hour of your day while you're being a hermit at home, you can do something. So I think there's lots of opportunity. I think it's about how we demystify the role of charities. We as charities also our own worst enemies. We like to portray and tell everyone we've got this, it's sorted, we're okay. Like any organization, we have our times that we're not okay. And I think that's about being bold enough in a safe space to say, we need help with this. We need help with that. The other thing, we're fine. I'm very blessed and fortunate. I've got fantastic trustees, but it's a huge challenge globally where charities do not have enough people stepping up to say, I want to be involved and support. Not necessarily as a full-blown trustee because there's responsibilities and there's, you're taking on a lot. But I think that the charity sector has a huge role to play to give that opportunity to people. And I think we need to diversify our makeup of trustees as well. And we need to also change it, because most charities, and I'm generalizing, most charities trustees are retired people, But I believe that charities also need the 35-year-old professional.
Yeah.
Or the 30-year-old professional. Yeah. That brings a different perspective. That is going to bring that different dynamic. And we need to change that narrative as well around, I can only volunteer and be on a trustee when I retire. No. Get involved at a younger age, please, because we need new blood all the time. We're also seeing globally that whole bit about volunteering and philanthropy and giving back, generations are changing. I worry that 2 generations' time, what the world's going to look like, because the 20-year-olds of today are not as philanthropic as their grandparents are. So there's lots of opportunity for people to get involved across lots of places. I'm not selling myself well, am I? Because I'm here about Horsham Matters. But yeah, there's lots of volunteer opportunities. Come and talk to us. If you can't fit in or don't fit into what we do, based on what you can give, the hours availability, or what you want to do, we will do our damnedest to signpost you as well and say, hey, listening to you, that charity might be a better fit for you. And we hope that the other charities will do the same for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and something that I'm really curious about now. So the way that you've talked all throughout this podcast so far makes me super curious about where Kelvin Glen comes from. Right, so I this is the question that we kind of normally ask
right at the beginning.
But I just had this feeling from the conversations that we had prior to this. I just had this feeling that this would just be a better format, because all the things you're saying, and the way that you present yourself and the way that you're presenting the challenges that charities are having, and you're saying that, look, younger generations struggle to be as philanthropic because they're having all their own challenges, etc. But like the way that you speak about it, it's just like, it's, dare I say it, and part of my language, it's just bloody inspiring, right? I'm super curious, where has life taken you and taken you from and to?
How long have we got?
We've got as long as the memory cards last, right? So and the big memory cards. Yeah. So just tell us a bit about your journey, because I'm absolutely fascinated by this.
I've had a very colourful life, let's put it that way. So I've been I've been fortunate that I made some good decisions at a young age. I came from a broken home. I was the perfect recipe for disaster, to put it bluntly. Had a very difficult childhood, but I made a decision very clearly early in my life. I had 2 choices. I could be a victim, or I could do something to help people that have been through what I went through. And I made that decision at a pretty young age. And it was hard, and that's always been my mantra of, remember you as a child, that's why you're doing this. So not to be the, oh, woe is me. And I'm very fortunate that doors have opened for me. People have believed in me. So after studying, I was snapped up by an international charity, being the Red Cross, but the local branch, which gave me some really damn good grounding. It was hard work. I worked in the trenches for a long time, and have spent my entire life, bar 5 years, but it was still linked, in the charity sector, or in the social sector, as we call it. And the 5 years I was on the other side of the fence, where I was giving money to charity because I thought that would be easier, but it wasn't. But yeah, I'm fortunate that I've always worked in the charity sector, or the social impact sector. Grew up in South Africa, worked across Africa, and have been very fortunate that I have had an amazing life where I've been blessed and fortunate that I get paid to do what I love doing and make a difference in people's lives. And I've worked across many continents, international and even smaller charities than Horsham Matters, where it was literally me and a small budget. But I've worked across education, environment, childcare, international disasters, building schools, planting trees. And Kelvin is someone who goes in and inspires, motivates, fixes, sees the opportunity. I'm a really good connector. And what I'm known for is inspiring and developing my team and developing them up and then letting them take over. So Horsham Matters is landed. We were fortunate that when we moved from South Africa, my partner and I, we happened to just land in Horsham. And
as you do, right?
Yeah. As you just do.
It's not that far from Gatwick, right?
Exactly. Off the plane, where are we going to go? No, I happen to know someone in Horsham and just landed here. And I'm very thankful for that, because after a week, so our partner was still in South Africa, clearing up, we were selling house, and it was just hard work, and it was the middle of COVID.
Oh,
great decision, Kelvin, but anyway.
Yeah.
So it took a year between the two of us getting settled. And I just said, Horsham's where it is. We're not going anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I was like, but why?
Why not, damn it? Yeah.
You won't know till you get here, but trust me, this is where we're going to live. And, a lot of my friends go, it's an expensive town to live in. Yes, that's the price you pay. Property's expensive here, but we love it. And I've worked for international charities while I've been in the UK. I've worked for organisations that support the elderly. And when this opportunity came up, I sat and looked at it and said, well, what are my 75% not negotiables that I'm not negotiable on? Because it's not only about the job and the salary and it's 5 minutes from home, great, but it's about the values as well. So I'm fortunate that Horsham Matters ticked my 75% box of being aligned to me. And what I love about it is that I get to engage with our clients every single day. I get to see the difference we make every single day. And I see this as a privilege. It's not a job. It's a privilege that I've been entrusted to lead this organization with a great team of trustees. I call them a team, and that's trustees, staff, paid staff, and volunteers, because we're one family. We couldn't do it without them. And it's a privilege for me to be able to lead this and to be given this amazing opportunity to help this organization grow. And that's my role.
And I just, yeah, and that makes a hell of a lot of sense now. But one thing I just want to ask, and this is perhaps there isn't a straightforward answer to this, and I'm not trying to also, I don't want to go back to, making you dive into things that you don't want to dive into.
Yeah.
But you said at the beginning of that, I could have chosen to be a victim, or I could have chosen to do something about it. Yeah. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that might seem like a simple choice, but seldom is it. No. Was there something or someone or some other element that inspired you to say, do you know what, this is the direction I'm going to go in?
I need to say, I think that thinking about it, it was probably one of my teachers at school. I was in high school. I was about year 7.
Is this in South Africa? Or?
Yeah, in South Africa, in a very rough school, in a very rough area, serious issues at home. And I had a teacher at school. His first name was Chris. I'm not going to give away his surname because he might just watch this and go, hey. I
recognize that guy. Yeah,
I know he's retired now, but hey, Facebook is a strange place. And Chris was one of those people who just every morning would just check in with me and say, are you okay today?
Yeah.
He said, are you okay? And he could see when I wasn't. And he would okay, I can see you've had a rough night. I can see you not looking good. Let's make sure you're okay. And he also inspired me to get involved in sports at school and certain culture clubs at school. So instead of going, that's the difficult child, the little stirring class that's acting up, that's not doing his homework and disrupting everyone, I think he did the check-in, not the check-out. He didn't give up on me.
Yeah.
He challenged me. He kept on probing and saying, but very subtly, how can I help? What's going on? Why didn't you do your homework last night? Like, what's your excuse? Instead of just going, well, we're just going to punish you and send you to detention. And I think was probably my turning point, because most of my other teachers just disciplined and sent me to detention for not doing the homework.
Yeah.
Didn't bother to understand, well, maybe there's something going on at home. Chris bothered. And I think I'm very lucky that he crossed my path and he didn't just write me off, because I probably could have written and would have turned out very differently, you know. But one never knows where life's going to take you. One never knows the amazing people you meet every day in your life. And I always believe that for good or for bad, every person comes past your path for a lesson and a reason. And sometimes we have to learn lessons from people. And the lesson I learned from him is never overlook anybody and always just take the time to connect. You know, just connect with people. Yeah. So I'm fortunate that Chris, I can honestly say, probably saved me, because he took the time to say, right, let's help you. Let's divert that anger and frustration into that energy, into sports and activities. And he just watched out for me. And I'm sure there's many other Chris's out there in the world. So I'm fortunate that Chris watched out for me and got me through. And that's when I decided, hey, there's people that are going to believe in me, and I need to do something about my life.
It sounds like he was an amazing role model. I mean, and having, and
he was a school teacher, which is so amazing. He went on to be principal after I left, but
you were obviously holding him back. This great part. It's like, finally he's gone. Right, I can pursue my dreams now. but that's incredible to hear. But also, this just ties in so well. So, you know, that story, and about, you say, there's 1,000 Chris's out there in every square mile that we see, right?
Yeah.
And just the power of doing that, you know, you say he taught you those key lessons that, you know, never overlook anybody, never write people off, always look out for each other. And there's nothing more powerful, and conversations that we've had in other podcasts that have obviously been related to different things, but there's something inherently super powerful about somebody who's wearing on their sleeve the principle of, I'm not going to let what happened to me happen to other people.
Yeah.
Like, that's a draw like nothing else.
I think that fits perfectly to where I am in my life and the work I'm doing, in the sense of, back to Horsham Matters, if I can help a parent that's going to bed worrying at night because their kid's gone to bed hungry, or they've gone to bed hungry because they had to give the food to the kids and still have to face work tomorrow morning, if Horsham Matters can help that person, then we've done our job. Done our job. It's that one thing. So I'm, again, very fortunate that, call it karma, universe, whatever you believe in, this all happened for a reason. But exactly that, I can now continue to give it forward with the team of volunteers and the dedicated staff and trustees we have. But it's exactly that. Every single client that comes through our doors is another Kelvin.
Yeah. And just you know, that story you gave, or that example that you give, you know, this is where those volunteers come in so critically, and the people who just think they might be doing a drop in the ocean. Look, if that drop in the ocean leads to, you know, as you say in that example,
kid's not going to be hungry.
Kid not going to be hungry, a family being able to, you know, look after themselves, turn things around from situations that are often completely out of their control. Immense. That's immense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, it's the same as people say to us, but I can only give you £20. That £20 is huge. That's the difference between someone having a family of 4 having dinner tonight or not.
Yeah, mad.
And I say to people, you know, people go, oh, I can't afford to give. And I can be a bit hard. And I challenge people and go, okay, so how many coffees did you buy across to this month? How many pints did you buy at the pub? A pint of beer is a basic meal for a family of 3.
I mean, not beer, but yeah.
No. The cost of the pints of beer.
Yes,
the cost of the pints of beer is what it costs to feed a family.
Which is, and that's crazy. When you put it in that perspective,
one less pint of beer a week.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
one less pint of beer. It's
one
not
less coffee,
we're not
whatever.
asking people a lot.
Yeah.
What we're saying to people is that we can all make a difference. That £5 a month donation that you give us, or that food you put in the bin at Tesco's or Sainsbury's or Co-op or wherever, it may not seem a lot to you, but that to us is the difference, being able to say to a client, yes, we can give you food tonight, or, you know, the food balance is low, you know, and it's not only food. We need to do a whole education campaign around that as well, because people are generous, but people also sometimes need to be a little bit more sensitive when they're donating food to food banks and charities. But yeah, that's the cost of that pint of beer, or that cup of coffee, or that Netflix subscription is the difference between another family being able to eat or pay the rent.
I mean, it's when you put it like that, it's just
stark, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we can all afford to have one less cup of coffee or one less beer.
That's it. And with the price of coffee nowadays. And the thing is, no one actually just has the one pint, do they? That's
Exactly.
the thing. Or the one cup of coffee. You go out, you know, if you're working in town, you have 2-3 cups of coffee. But yeah, I think just circling back to that drop in the ocean, I had a very similar story to yours in the sense that someone took the time, but then you could have said that. Why did they spend that time? What, you know, they could have had the same thought process, like, oh, you know, there's nothing I can say that will change. You know, it's just a drop in the ocean. But then it's those drops that actually make a huge impact, and you just never know when you might just be building the next Chris.
Absolutely. And you help. You know, for us, it's about, we don't know, because everyone's journey is individual. You know, our clients talk to us, we get their perspective of where they are in their frame of mind on that day. But we don't know what people are going through. You know, we're all really good about coming home and shutting the front door and then going, you know, and then it all comes out. And as I said earlier, the early intervention for us is important. So the other thing is about society also being the eyes and ears of the world. I said this to a group of people the other day, is that when someone at church, at school, on the bus, whatever, says, I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent this month, that's when we need to intervene.
Yeah.
That's when we need to say, phone them, they will try and help you. We cannot always help everyone. We don't have an endless supply of money, but we will try. Because what happens is that people wait until they're in absolute crisis before they ask for help. And we as society need to change that narrative. We as society need to start wearing our hearts on our sleeves and start saying it's okay to ask for help earlier. Because if we can intervene earlier, the journey is less painful for them. And from a pure commercial perspective, it's less expensive for us. Because the more trouble people are in financially, the longer it takes to get them out of that, and that it costs money. So when people say, whether it's in the workplace, wherever, I'm struggling, I can't pay the rent, or I can't come up for a pint tonight because I can't afford it. You know, I haven't paid my bills, or the car's going to be repossessed. Let's intervene there. The great thing about Horsham Matters is that people can ring up. You know, people can ring us up directly. It doesn't need to be signposted. And we'll have a conversation. And if we can't help you, we'll do our damnedest to signpost you with a warm handover to someone that can help you. And we'll do our utmost to try and talk you through that process. But it's about encouraging people to contact us through instant messaging or telephone or web, whatever. But let's get to people when it's early. Let's not wait until someone's going to bed hungry, because it's not too late, but it shouldn't wait till that. So we need society to also just look out for each other. When people are looking a bit rough or they've had a rough day, try and just spend an extra 2 minutes and support them. And they will tell you when they're ready. But it's that whole embarrassment of asking for help, which as society, we rubbish at. As human beings, we rubbish at being vulnerable. And I think sometimes we're all going to be a little bit more vulnerable and just a little bit more human.
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot, doesn't it, for someone to actually come out and say, look, it's been difficult.
Yeah.
I think people, like you said, people wait until the very last minute before they ask for help.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's about just be a bit more present in whatever you're doing on a day-to-day basis, so that you can be on the lookout for those messages, on those subtle hints of, like, you know, you can, there's help out there.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait until the very last minute.
And there's a huge amount of help, and it's credit to a number of stakeholders in workplaces. It's not only charities, it's churches, it's doctor surgeries, it's government, it's schools. There's plenty of people that have the platforms to be able to unlock help. I think it's the hard part of being honest and saying we need some help, and that is hard for anybody.
And I remember when we were together actually, and I think it was when they were first being introduced, social prescribers, and initially I was like, oh.
Why do we need them?
I was one of those people. I was, but they were so busy.
Like busy.
They're so busy.
Yeah. No, I remember because that was back in my previous role, and as a clinical director in a primary care network, and building up the social prescribing team was, I mean, one of the best things about that role. One of the things I'm most proud of, and they carry on strong as ever, doing some amazing work. That in not to go too far off track, but the biggest thing that we just never appreciated, even this was what 5-6 years ago. We even as short a period of that time, people just didn't pay attention to the wider determinants of health. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
We just it's this is a problem. Where's my pill for it?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like I don't have a pill for the fact that you can't pay your bills. Right,
and that's affecting your health.
Yeah, and really? Are you depressed? Of course you are, right? Because you can't. All these environmental factors that are creating intolerable pressure on you. You need help for that, but it needs, what it needed is that understanding that actually, look, it's not something a pill's going to fix.
No.
It's not something that, it's not going to just turn around like this. We need the social fabric to work. And at a time where, we're saying that people don't like to ask for help. And that's because the fabric of society is in chaos.
Yeah.
And the more that we have people understanding that the community is there to support the community and making use of that and bringing that together like the social prescribers do, the more we have appreciation for it, but B, know what to do about it.
Yeah.
Because that's, it's great to know that something's a problem, but then actually to be able to fix it or understand how you can connect people to various organizations, charities who you wouldn't have looked at twice because you just don't think, well, that's for somebody else.
Yeah. And I think that's the point. It's back to your beginning, right? Your opening statement about Horsham as a community. I think we're fortunate we live in an amazing town, an amazing community, and there is that sense of community. But just as we've created that sense of community from a social perspective, and I mean the Friday night lads have been hugely successful. I haven't met a person who said it didn't work. How do we replicate that as a whole community around everything, and work holistically? And not to say that it isn't hard work. And I think the other thing is that it takes the individual that has had to bare their soul and ask for help. It's a journey for them. And it also is damn hard work for them. And it's not a pill that's going to be a quick fix, because even a pill takes months to see results.
Yeah.
So, just as we take the time to make sure we do the right diagnostics to diagnose correctly and then medicate correctly and then monitor correctly, I think as society we've got a great opportunity to do the same on stuff that can prevent the medication. Because, our work is so crucial in the sense of if we can intervene early and work with communities and clients early, we prevent the knock-on on a plethora of challenges that will come up if we all stand back and go, somebody else will help them.
Yeah.
Or if they don't ask for help. Because there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on.
I mean, and look, this has been studied and replicated to the hilt. I mean, there's data out there that repeats itself ad nauseum about the effect that social deprivation has on physical health, well-being, etc. So
economics,
so much of that, if you get that right at source, can we all talk about prevention being better than cure. That's just as much of it, right? It is just as much to get that right and have the right support structures in place, because as we've said time and time again today, things happen. You don't know what's going to be around the corner, but if there is a net that helps you, and like you say, you're not giving handouts, you're giving hand ups, right? It's about understanding that, okay, there's a mechanism here by which I can write things, by which I don't have to just fall and go into this endless black hole of I just see no hope, I see no way out of this, and I also don't want to tell anyone because I'm embarrassed.
And that can be life changing, really life changing, and we've seen it with clients that They're at the darkest point of their life when they knock on our door, absolute crisis. And we then faced with this multitude of challenges that we then need to unpick and then get other people involved to help.
Yeah.
And we don't want that to happen to anybody. And that's our role as Horsham Matters. If we can prevent one more person knocking on our door, we've done our job. I mean, some statistics, we haven't thrown many statistics around tonight. In the last 5 years, Foodbanks across the UK have doubled in volume of food they're supporting. That is inexcusable, unacceptable, just not on that we're in this position in this country. It's just not on. But that's the reality.
Yeah.
How do we change that? We're not going to change it overnight. There's a number of factors. Millions of people are turning to food banks for help. The budget speech is coming up soon. We're all bracing ourselves. We don't know what's going to happen. Cost of living crisis is affecting everyone. We're going into winter. It sounds cliche. We hear it on the media. In this town and this district, we still have elderly folk that are choosing heating over eating or missing meals because they can't afford to switch the heating off. And as clinicians, the impact of that. We're having elderly folk that are missing meals, children that are missing meals and going to school hungry. In this day and age, it's not acceptable. So the advocate in me gets angry and goes, we need to fix this. It's not going to be fixed tomorrow. It's going to take a multidisciplinary team. We see Horsham Matters as one of those role players in that multidisciplinary team. But we need to continue to do our work, and we can only do that with support from the community. So for the cost of that cup of coffee, the cost of the pint of beer, an hour of your time, the beautiful thing is that you can be part of the solution. And you can future-proof that if this happens to you tomorrow, there is somebody that's going to be that safety net. So the unfortunate part is we're not going anywhere. The day we can close our doors and say there's no need for us, we'll all celebrate. But I pray that'll be in my lifetime, but I don't think it will. The need is growing, unfortunately. And that's whether that's because we're doing a better job of educating people and they're knocking on the door earlier, we don't know. We don't have the data to tell us that, or whether it's because more people are suffering. What we do know is cost of living is a challenge. What we do know is that people, unfortunately, are victims of, not victims, but retrenchments happen, companies close down, companies shut shop. When a shop closes in the high street, everyone goes, that was 9 people.
Yeah, it's someone's livelihood.
That's 9 livelihoods that were told, you've now lost your job.
Yeah.
That means we need to find 9 other jobs in this community to fill that gap. And with one company closing down, that's 9 jobs that are now vacant. That's 9 families. And those are the conversations we've got to have. So we need to be supporting our local businesses, whether that's retail, garden services, whatever. We need to be supporting local businesses because they are employing our community. We've got some great big employers in this town that employ massive amounts of people. And we've got small employers that employ one person, or the lady that's just a cleaner that cleans your home once a week, if you can afford that. Or the delivery driver. Everybody is part of the process and part of making up the fabric of our community. So, we need to be getting angry when companies or businesses are shutting down because those employees that lose their livelihoods. And the knock-on on that effect is huge because it affects those people psychologically, physically, mentally, all those things. And no one wants to lose their job. It's rubbish. No one wants to lose their job. So we as a community need to do our utmost to keep Horsham the great place it is, keep it as a thriving community. Let's build the economy. Let's keep on building our community, but let's also just look out for each other.
That's a great message. Yeah. Fantastic.
And I've left you speechless.
That's like, but it is. It's so, everything about, all the elements of what you're saying, we don't appreciate it because it's not directly happening to us, right? It's still, you say that the food banks have doubled, which is. I mean, I have a whole heap of things to say about that, but it's still somewhere. It feels to somebody who isn't necessarily seeing it. It feels like no, that must be somewhere else. Yeah. They may be doubling. Cool, you told me they're doubling. I've seen the news tell me that they've doubled, but it's somewhere else. It's not on my doorstep.
Yeah, it's because it's out of sight.
Yeah,
the work we do is out of sight. It's no different to providing education for children or stuff where you're not going to see. It's not tangible, and as I said, it's not as in your face as homeless sleeping or the dog with the sore paw, or the homeless cat. But isn't that the hypocrisy that because it's out of sight, it's out of mind?
Yeah.
And if we as a society did our job right, none of this should be there anymore. So let's work on the preventative. Not to say that the curative is not important, absolutely, but let's try and get more on the preventative side and help people before they get into trouble, before that person ends up homeless. And yes, there will be people who say, well, people choose to take drugs, then they'll always be homeless. I mean, I was reading 744 comments on a Facebook feed last night about the one individual who's sleeping homeless in Horsham at the moment. And there was a plethora of opinions of, oh, well, he doesn't want to work, he's lazy. We don't know his story. We have no right to judge. Other people saying, well, that's his choice, so tough. That may be his choice, but can we sit back and make that assumption? No. So it's about us looking inwards, us calling in, and understanding that individual story. And the hard part for me is that the time and energy that those 700 plus people made comments on Facebook, for me is sad.
Yeah.
Not to say that there's no space for an opinion, not to say that it's important that they have a voice, but are we channeling that energy and time and money responsibly? If every single other person gave £1 or 5 minutes of their time to help the homeless, imagine the impact. But we're all too quick to take the time to have an opinion and have the solution on the keyboard warrior. And my challenge to society, again, and to our neighbours is let's just take the time to imagine that was somebody we loved. Would we be so judgmental? And we would want to help them. So you have the power, you have the means, you live in an amazing place. Let's keep it amazing, because we don't want another person to be in a position where they have to be homeless on our streets in anywhere in this country or the world.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there will always be need. And it's about unlocking the awakening and inspiring people that drop in the ocean is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
You will make a difference. You've got to believe that. And I challenge people. You won't know until you try.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just as you talk about the keyboard warriors and things, and that is a big thing in society at the moment. And how do we create those those neuronal connections that we all need to make? Just as when something isn't happening on my doorstep or happening to somebody I know or somebody that's a loved one, I don't see it or I don't feel it. How can we get that to translate from, I see this story about a homeless person and it upsets me, so therefore I'll write something about it. So where's that emotional connection that you've drawn to write your opinion of whatever that may be? I haven't seen this thing you're talking about, but whatever it may be, there's probably an element of this where if you just change the framing or get the message out that you're saying that actually, look, but just think, what if that is your son, daughter, sister, brother?
Yep.
Because it's somebody's son, daughter, sister, brother, right?
Yep.
So we're all here trying to make the best of things. We're all struggling through sometimes. Some of us more than others, but at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all linked to each other, and we've got a great place that we live in Horsham. But like you said, this is a global thing. Let's just do our bit to understand and have that just second of empathy that it's so easy to not have because the world doesn't train us to.
Everything is just so disconnected, isn't it? It's so easy to forget that again, going with what you're saying, like everybody is somebody, isn't it? Like it's just, and people just are so quick to jump and leave comments and say and their opinions, and not to say that their opinions aren't valid or they shouldn't be mentioned, but it's just about taking that split second. Just take that one, just pause for a second, just think about it, and then really decide if you should mention that or not.
And the key thing that you said about the energy, right? Because it's mental energy that you're expending, but you're expending that because something has gripped you in a way that has forced an energy transfer.
It's pushed a button.
So how do we just kind of do that cognitive behavioural therapy to go from, like, instead of going from point A to point chaos, how do I go from point A to point B with this, right? And I think the overall there's so many messages that have been brilliant from you today, Kelvin, but that is one of the biggest things. It's just changing our thinking and our perspectives around how we empathise with our fellow community members.
And that's the amazing thing, is that, on the positive and the flip side, is that we have amazing individuals that do dig deep in their pockets and do give us donations, whether that's in-kind, volunteering, food that they buy from the supermarket, or cash, or attending and supporting our amazing events. And that, for me, is just so cool that individuals go, well, I'm going to give you money, time, or food, or support your event because I trust and believe that you're doing the right thing. I will never meet the beneficiary or the client that you're helping.
Yeah.
I will never see the fruits of my hard-earned £20 or £5. But there's amazing individuals, and many of them in our community, that do support Horsham Matters. And for me, that is just so cool that despite the negatives and the challenges and all the bad things that's happening in the world, we still have amazing people that do make a difference and do dig deep and do care and have no expectation, in the sense that they know we're going to do what's right, but they will never know just how much they've done with that money or that time or supporting that event. So it goes back to your question of, you can help. There's lots of ways you can help Horsham Matters or other organisations. Support local events, support your local charity shop, find that £5 a month that you can afford, or volunteer, So it goes back to that of, the impact of that is so much greater, and let's not go from A to chaos. Let's be the champions of going from A to A+. And the more people we can inspire to just think differently and be the ambassadors and the custodians of positive messaging and creating a society of caring. And there's amazing caring people out there that do amazing work and do help us and volunteer and care and give money. And for that, we're truly thankful. The chaos, unfortunately, means that it's never enough. So what we want to do is get to the space where the chaos is reducing. And we can only do that with your help. So let's be part of the solution. And having these conversations are so important, because so often we work hard in our marketing and our comms, and people give us split seconds or one paragraph or, one mention. So these conversations are so important, because I'm hoping that the audience stays engaged, but also walks away with a changed mindset. So, the irony tonight is that you guys yourselves donating your time, your resources, this amazing equipment, you catalysts of change, you champions, you are moving that dial and that needle, and you've created an amazing platform for society to think differently, whether that's about business, about charities, about the world in general. So, heads up to you guys, 2 individuals who have said, let's do this. That's fantastic. And we need more of that. We need people to dig deep and find their true purpose, and I think the opposite, you both came from very distinct careers, and you've gone and you're chasing a passion that is the complete polar opposite of what we would perceive a person in that career doing. But the impact you're having is huge. You know, you're creating memories, you're changing people's lives, you're inspiring people by creating this platform. So everyone can do so much if we just unspark and just let ourselves just be a little bit adventurous, because the result can be amazing, which is look what you've created.
Well, thanks for saying.
Thank you.
That's a great.
You know,
if there ever was a little snippet that I'll put as a great advert for the podcast. But but it's,
what's the timestamp?
Well, yeah, we just. But it's incredible though, like you said. And thank you for saying that and mentioning that, because you know we. Like I said, the plethora of different types of guests that we've had on, the whole point is about understanding that human connection, and that we have a wealth of amazing people, amazing businesses, amazing artists, amazing community leaders who just have incredible stories to tell that are not being heard, that need to be heard, that must be out there, because just as we've been saying, we need to change those perspectives.
Yeah.
Because you know, in the life that I've had in my career as a GP, I could tell you some stories, man.
I'm sure.
But like at the same time, I could tell you some stories, but every day I'd do it, I'd go home, I'd forget it, rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And no, you know, this opportunity that we have around speaking to people like yourself and helping people understand that there are inspirational people behind the things that you just take for granted around you, or you see and you notice, and you maybe raise half an eyebrow at and think, oh, okay, interesting. That Horsham Matters van's there again. They've got their stands out. Oh, yeah, okay, maybe. Just that extra bit of impetus to go, no. Don't just raise an eyebrow. Go and talk to them. Yeah. Because the people behind it are incredible. And the people behind just hearing your story about where you came from as well to get there. This isn't just like, oh, you know what, I couldn't find anything else better to do, so I thought I'd go into charity work. There's none of that.
Charity work's damn hard.
Yeah, right. As you have demonstrated, right?
It's hard.
So, and that's it. That's a whole world of perspective that needs to shift. Yeah. And more and more of these messages that come out, the better. And I can't wait to see what happens next with Horsham Matters. And that kind of is, to be fair, our kind of wrapping up question, really, which is, you know, what is next for Horsham Matters? What's next for Kelvin Glen? What does the future hold for you?
Future for me is leaving a great legacy. And I think for me, Horsham Matters, as said, I've been given this amazing opportunity. I've been blessed with it all just happened. So I'm very fortunate now. I count my blessings every day. What's next for Horsham Matters? As the leader of a charity, it's always hard in the sense of charities is hard work. You're juggling 1,000 balls every day. The need is always greater than what the money you've got. But for me, I think it's a beautiful charity that's coming up for its 20th birthday next year. We're going to do a big bang on that. So watch the space.
Nice.
But more importantly it's about what's here for the next 20 years. So I think it's about having deep and meaningful conversations to make sure that we fit for purpose and that we're hearing our clients. We've got to do better at our messaging. So watch the space. We're going to be shouting from the rooftops unapologetically about our impact, championing the cause of our clients, and creating space and opportunity for us to be that vehicle for people being able to help their neighbour. I really want the messaging around improving people's lives, and I want the messaging around Horsham as a district and Horsham as a town to be a place to be proud of, that I live in as a resident, but also that it's a place where everyone cares about each other. And I think Horsham Matters has a crucial role in playing that role to make sure that when people do bang on our doors because they've reached hardship, that we can help them as quickly as possible, as cost effectively as possible, and get them back to where they want to be and more importantly, they can be their best selves. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. I've got a great team, and I reiterate team being trustees, the small team that are paid, and they're amazing volunteers. And we've got an amazing community. So the next time you see the van out there, say thank you to the person that's volunteering in it.
Yeah.
The next time you pop into our charity shop, say thank you to the volunteers. The next time you see us doing a street collection, give us £2. And when we do appeals, support our charity events. We've got some great events coming up. We've got a carols concert in December. We're part of the late night shopping campaign that Horsham Town Centre's doing. We've got a great charity shop that's got wonderful things to buy. You're supporting upcycling, you're supporting your local charity, and just be part of our family. That's what we ask you. Be part of the family. We're opening the doors. Be part of the solution. Help us solve. We can't do this alone. So I'm very excited. Let's do this again in a year's time and see how far we've come.
Absolutely.
100%. 100%. Absolutely. What an incredible set of messages there. And I love the I love the authenticity behind it, of course, but it's just, I feel energized. I don't know about you, but I feel energized.
Like every answer to our questions has just been like an inspirational quote. It's just Kelvin's book of epics. Yeah. It's just like, okay, it's just been, let me just pull out this gem. Okay, yeah. No, it's been absolutely fantastic. It's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And what is the best way, you alluded to it earlier, in terms of getting in touch with you or the charity specifically.
Yeah.
So what are the best avenues for people who either just want to learn more or people who think, actually, do you know what, I probably ought to be speaking to someone like Horsham Matters? What are the best avenues for that?
So we've got a website, horsham-matters.org.uk, but I'll give you all the details. You can put them on the screen.
Brilliant, yeah.
You've got them. Yeah. Website, we are rejigging it because it needs to be better. Telephone us. The office number will be there. We also introduced a couple of weeks ago now a WhatsApp service, so people can WhatsApp our main telephone line. Why do we do that? We found that a number of our clients were struggling in the sense that they're either at work, on the bus, and they couldn't really talk, and we have to ask them very sensitive information. Yeah. That's worked well over WhatsApp. Also, there's a lot of free Wi-Fi where that's been on the bus, the train, the library. And it was easier for us to also share information with them with signposting, with links or forms. So we've got a great WhatsApp service. You WhatsApp us, the bot will tell you, we're getting back to you, and then a human being will come online and say hello. So WhatsApp us, phone us, website, come and say hi. And we've always got volunteers that are happy to talk to you or one of the team. And as I said, we can never guarantee we're going to fix everyone's problems, but we can try. And please reach out early. Don't reach out when you're in absolute crisis. When you start feeling the wheels fall off and you can't afford to pay the bills and you're skipping meals, come and talk to us then, because we don't want you to be skipping meals.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
As I said, this is an amazing opportunity, and as a charity, we rely on partners like yourself, and thank you for giving us this platform and for the great work you're doing for society in creating this platform. So you champions as well in your own rights of what you're doing to give back. So everyone that's watching, please share, please encourage your friends to support it, because the more people that are involved, we can do this together.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Fantastic message. Brilliant. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It has been a journey.
Yeah. It has.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.